The last time we had two IPL seasons in a row without Chennai Super Kings in the playoffs, rising Pune Super Giants and Gujarat Lions win the league. So how did the most consistent IPL team and five-time champions end up being the first team knocked out of playoff contentions? Well, let's break it down. So Chennai Super Kings are currently at the very bottom of the table with only 2 wins from 11 games. And almost everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. First and foremost, their current starters did not show up. Rachin Ravindra is supposed to be one of the brightest prospects in the world of cricket right now. He just came back from a Player of the Tournament performance in the Champions Trophy, and yet he's lacked that impact. Shivam Dubey has been classed as one of the most dangerous spin bashers in recent seasons, and opposing teams have changed their entire bowling plans when he's been on the pitch, and yet he has slowed down a lot this season. Devon Conway had a few great seasons when he turned up on the scene, and yet now, over the last few months, it feels like he's lost a lot of the form and become a shell of the cricketer he used to be. But most importantly, Rutu Gaikwad, their captain and talisman into this next generation, has failed to rise up to the occasion, especially when they're tasked with tough chases. And his injury and subsequent getting ruled out of the tournament spelled disaster for CSK's season really early. But that's just half of the problem. Then you have the trio of Vijay Shankar, Deepak Hooda and Rahul Tripathi. All of them have been good IPL players in the past, but they've just had purple patches where they've gone to a different level before regressing back to average. CSK tried to work their magic on them, but it just didn't happen. And there's a good reason for that. The players this magic worked on in the past were Robin Uthappa, who came into CSK as a previous Orange Cap winner and two-time IPL champion. Amar Raider, who had already won 3 IPLs coming into CSK. And Ajinkya Rahane, who was a legend of Indian cricket for the last decade and a half. So comparing both groups is just unbelievable. And when you pair both of those points together, you have a general inability to build innings and uncertainties for the batting lineup throughout. So how can CSK fix this? Well, they need to make Ruturaj open again. I don't know why he went to one down, but he was at his best when he's opening, and when he's opening with a solid partner as well. In the past, his best seasons have come with Faf du Plessis on the other end, or an informed Devon Conway, and currently he's got neither. Given that the next season I'd have a batting lineup of Aish Matre and Ruturaj Gaikwad, Rachin Ravindra is still worth backing, but I do think they should look for more experienced top-order batsmen. Dubey and Brevis are obviously going to be destructive in the overs, and that is crucial for them. But then you've also got Jadeja, Curran, and Dhoni, who could play across the order depending on what over it is and the bowlers ahead of them. On the other hand, you've got a few things that just need to go, and in my opinion, 2 out of the 3 between Vijay Shankar, Deepak Hooda, and Rahul Tripathi need to get released. I wouldn't be against keeping one as a backup, and they could come in handy, you never know when. And maybe the gamble could still pay off, but gambling on 3 at once feels like too much. You've also got Ashwin, who came in at over 10 crores, and that is just too much value for the age he is in currently. He's past his prime and more suited to be a backup right now and a player who can start on spinning pitches. And lastly, Devon Conway and Pathirana have just lost a lot of form internationally. They don't feel as dangerous, especially Pathirana after he's changed his action. CSK might want to keep tabs on the international form before making a call. Now, how does CSK build some pathways to success? Well, first and foremost, I think Chepauk needs to return to a spinning track. CSK is dominant at home, and yet they've only got 1 win in Chepauk so far, and this is when Noor Ahmed has been one of the best spinners in this tournament so far. It's promising, and they could really build on that. Similarly, they need to build on their pace potential. Khalil Ahmed and Anshul Kamboj both have a lot of potential, but there's a lot of inexperience there. They need to, in my opinion, pair that up with some elite experience, and they're likely to get that from some overseas veteran. On the batting front, they need to restructure their entire mindset. Currently looks like a perfect innings for CSK, ends up with them at 190. They need to find a way to make that 220. So when they mess up in small moments, that 225 ends up still being around the 200 mark. In a modern game, I think that is a necessity. Some interesting insights I noticed from the season so far, and the best batsmen they have, especially when it comes to intent, have been replacements. And that's a concerning indicator of how badly their auction has gone. And obviously I'm talking about Aish Matre and Dual Brevis. Noor Ahmed leading an attack is a very big plus point for them. It indicates a transition to its future. Noor Ahmed is promising and looks exactly like a left-handed Rashid Khan. Moving from one Ahmed to another, Khalil has been evolving into an all-phase bowler. He can be expensive on many days, and he's still trying to work out a lot of the aspects of his game. And lastly, I think CSK is finally inspiring to look towards youth. Aish Manzare, Dual Brevis, and Shaikh Rashid all got chances and all showed potential. I think CSK finally realizes that it's better to go with that than washed up old talents. Now some bold predictions on big calls they might make. I think Ashwin goes on chopping block. Unless he surprises us with another retirement, I think he should be bought back, but at a lower price. Similarly, Matisha Patirana has impacted a lot by them, but given his action change, he looks less potent, and that could be a long-term issue. So his 13 crore price tag might finally feel heavy, and CSK could look to get him at a cheaper price too. Lastly, CSK has been a great franchise and been consistently getting playoff spots. But I think this is the point where CSK finally hits that rebuild, and it might even be a few years before we see them back among the playoff contenders. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking why I haven't mentioned this man yet. And yes, it's finally time to talk about the $1 million question. Is MS Dhoni going to continue or will he call it quits? Truth be told, I don't even think he knows the answer. He's a legend of the game and his legacy is unmatched. I do think the more he plays right now, the way he's playing, it will temper that legacy. But the season also feels like too bad of a note to sign off on. He'll want something better, he'll want something to be remembered by, so I do think he's going to play on. And so that's a review of the CSK season. It's been a disappointment for them, straight up. But there's always promise, there's always youth, and you never know how the story changes in one season. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you thought of this CSK season and how they could go ahead. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.